to elect of Israel, to the hopeful elect of Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American, West Indian Haitians, and the foreign Israelites that are scattered across the four corners of the earth that look like the other nations. I want to give all praises to Barak Yahawah, Barak Yahawashi, Barak Yahawah, Barak Yahawashi, Barak Yahawah, Barak Yahawashi. Gotta give all praises to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who led me to this truth and have been ordained by the Lord to teach the flock how to live, repent, pray, fast, and show forth the Lord's righteousness and mercy, judgment, forgiveness, and wrath to all those who are part of the elect, scattered across the four corners of the earth, whomever they may be, and to the hopeful elect. Lord willing to be part of that number. Lord willing to be edifying to those who fear in the name of the Lord and striving to show forth the Lord's righteousness every day to the best of their abilities. His judgment always comes to light. Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 5, and is not slack. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 9. So today the Lord put the Spirit on me to deal with a few topics. Some of them, a few of them is Russia is moving closer to nuclear conflict with the U.S. and there's been a coral disease outbreak. And we know, recently it was like 250,000 pounds of sewage was dumped into the ocean, into the river, and over there in all of California, all those beaches have been getting shut down. And also, so we don't get into this, but also, I want to give not double honors, I already did that, but I want to, just say shalom to all the men out there who are teaching this truth to the best of their abilities out there on the highways and byways. That's a sincere salutation for them, and also to the honorable multitude of, few men, women, and children who came back to this truth and are rehearsing the righteous acts of Bahasham, Yahawashi to the best of their abilities. So, shalom. So, we're going to go ahead and get into this, and Lord willing, let's be edifying to the flock. So I did a post on this a couple days ago, but I wanted to go ahead and go into it. And there's another clip that the Lord put the Spirit on me to deal with. And we'll put in some precepts. So this is reverse ATMs facilitate an increasingly cashless society. So this is kind of the next step to bringing in the CHIP and getting rid of cash for good. So let's go ahead and deal with this. So it reads, reverse ATMs dispense, let me make sure it's good. Okay. Reverse ATMs dispense prepaid active cards in exchange for cash. So now they've gotten out there where they basically starting to try to get all the cash together so they can get it out the market. Business prefer the ATMs as they're helping prevent theft and robberies. They're going to come up with some way to say it's good. ATMs are being installed in parks, restaurants, and sports venues. See, they putting them in parks and stuff. They're trying to get all the money back. So, but it says cash is still king, but the reverse ATMs may be a way of the future as more businesses shift to cashless only transactions. These reverse ATMs, also known as cash-to-card kiosks, are being installed in amusement parks, fast food restaurants, and many professional sports venues will soon be installed in airports and on college campuses. And eventually it's going to say, well, you can't even use these venues without these cards. And you're going to have to put your money in there to use it from the card. But most people got credit cards anyways, but this is just the next step to kind of get that money off the market. New York City Madison Square Garden is one of the many venues that's installed machines inside its arena that can convert cash into a debit card. Here's how it works. Consumers load money into a kiosk, and within seconds, the receipt prints confirming the conversion, and a prepaid active card is issued. Many of the prepaid cards are MasterCard or Visa. Consumers can use them anywhere. The cards are accepted. Many machines don't charge fees, but some kiosks may charge $5 a fee for the card. Okay. So, that's just a little bit about that and how, we're getting closer to a cashless society. We're going to go over here and we're going to deal with another thing that happened recently. It was in Zimbabwe. They started making gold-backed digital tokens. So they're backing these digital tokens right now and receiving as that local currency for them. They're not using dollars anymore either. So this is also another thing that's taken away from the dollar. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe will soon issue a gold-backed digital currency that will function as the country's legal tender. So they're not using no more dollars. The move is part of a government strategy to keep local currency from depreciating further against the U.S. dollar. So everybody's fighting back against the dollar, as it says, they're going to come against this place. So we're going to put some precepts in. I'm going to get right down to it. So this is Romans chapter 13. Verse 11. And it reads, and knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. For now is our salvation nearer than we believe. So there's still a lot of our people who still asleep and not awake to the fact that, Jacob's trouble is coming and it's real close. This is verse 12. The night is far spent, the day is at hand. Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness and let us put on the armor of light. So there's many things that we have to cast off that we used to do in this world and come here to serve Bahasham, Yahawashi. Come wherever you're at to come to the church. This is basically church. And we come here to serve Bahasham, Yahawashi and to edify the flock. There have been some currencies that is changing, to warn the sheep, like, what's happening, we're supposed to be messengers. So, that's just for anybody that new comes across my page. Also, before we deal with this, I got some more precepts dealing with the money situation. But it's time to wake up and see that this dollar's falling. People is not going to be using this too much more longer. So we're going to go with Ezekiel. And just not to get comfortable. Don't get comfortable, because this is about to be a rough time for everybody in Israel. That's what they call it, Jacob's trouble. It ain't nobody else's trouble. But this is Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 5. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic, thou hast increased thy riches, and thine heart is lifted up because thy riches. And that's how they feel. Their hearts is lifted up because all the money that they have made off slavery, and now they're able to make it digital. They're able to take it to the next level. So through all these riches, they're trying to digitally enslave us. This is verse 6. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, because thou hast set thine heart as the heart of Yahawah. Behold, therefore I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations. They shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defile thy brightness. And that's what's going to come after they do all this digital things to society. And that's why, you got these people are having a fear of an EMP, coming and hitting America. That's why they have those fears. Because the Lord is going to bring these other nations over here and they're going to take this place down, saith the Lord. So this is Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 16. We're going to jump up a little bit. And it reads, by the multitude of thy merchandise, they have filled the midst of thee with violence. And thou hast sinned, therefore I will cast thee as a profane out of the mountain of Yahawah, and I will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. So see, this is talking about the judgments that's coming on this place, because they're all the sins that they have done to increase their merchandise, to increase their gadgets and everything that they're getting ready for this season. So this is verse 17. Thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Talking about America, Babylon the Great. Thou hast corrupted thy wisdom by the reason of thy brightness. I will cast thee to the ground. I will lay thee before kings that they may behold thee. And those are the other nations that's going to come destroy this place after they get it all, their whole system set up. You know, because it's going to fail. It's not going to work. This is verse 18. Thou hast defiled thy sanctuaries by the multitude of thine equities, by iniquities, which is sin upon sin, by the iniquity of thy traffic. Therefore, I will bring forth a fire from the midst of thee, and it shall devour thee. And I will bring thee to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all them that behold thee. And that's what's going to happen to this place. Shalom, 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 big bro. Thank the water for tuning in, Ak. Good to hear from you. Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Qadash, Barak, Atham. So we're going to get down to Micah chapter 2, verse 10. This is Micah chapter 2, verse 10, and it reads, Arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you, even with a sore destruction. And some of our people, they think this means to get out of America, okay? Just like they did when Ronald Dalton tried to do that whole movie talking about the people need to run from America. Well, we know that he's lying, first and foremost, because he's not dealing with Great Millstone, you know. And of course, Great Millstone started with One West, which is with Abba Bivens, who we believe is John the Baptist reincarnated. And, you know, GMS branched out from there after a period of time because all the other camps were making merchandise out of the flock. So that's how we know that Great Millstone is the one that the Lord is dealing with. So, you know, it's talking about come out of this place spiritually, because why would he say that he would scatter us across the four corners of the earth, and in the end he would gather us back together again? If he's going to gather us back together again, that means that you don't need to go nowhere. You just got to have that faith and, you know, do the works that the Lord told us to do, and have faith he'll come and get us. You know, he's never been a liar. So we have strong faith that he's going to do what he said he's going to do. So this is Psalms chapter 49, verse 11. This is how these people feel here. Their inward thought is that their houses shall continue forever, and their dwelling places to all generations. They call their lands after their own names. And they do this everywhere, you know, in America, Babylon the Great. All the street corners, all the businesses, they call everything they buy, you know, because they believe that it really belongs to them. But it was through robbery and slavery. This place don't belong to them, you know. But it's going to be destroyed, and nobody's going to ever inhabit it again anyways. So the Lord gave it to Esau, even the so-called white man, to dwell here for his time to rule in wickedness, and then he's going to be taken out of the way. So Matthew chapter 24, verse 38, and it reads, For as in the days that there were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying, and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, which is Noah, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away. So shall the coming of the Son of Man be, which is Yahawashi. So it's going to be like this time. Everybody going to be doing whatever they want to do, and the only people that's going to not get caught off guard is, you know, the elect of Israel. We you know, we pray to be a part of that number, and we also do the works. So Nahum. But we don't want to just be over righteous. You know, you still got to provide for your family and stuff. But we just got to make sure. I was listening to another Akim. He was talking about how, you know, don't start doing illegal things to get your money for your families. Keep it in a way where, you know, it glorifies Yahawashi. You know, we don't want to be out here doing nothing illegal according to Esau Edom's law. That's why he set them up. You know, we're in captivity. It's a test to see if we're going to come back and rehearse the righteous acts to the best of our abilities. So this is Nahum chapter 2, verse 4. The chariots shall rage in the streets. They shall jostle one against another in broad ways. They shall seem like torches. They shall run like the lightnings. He shall recount his worthies. They shall stumble in their walk. They shall make haste to the wall thereof, and the defense shall be prepared. This is verse 6. The gates of the river shall be opened, and the palace shall be dissolved. So these places are going to fall to the ground. That's all the nations, starting with this one, starting with Esau eating the so-called white man all over the earth. The Lord is coming for him. But first, he's dealing with 2/3 of our people, would not repent and convert. He's judging the house of Israel first, and inevitably, a lot of the people that are teaching, that are not teaching the correct doctrine are also part of that 2/3. And you got some people that's part of the 2/3 that haven't woken up yet who are going to come. It's going to be in all different ways, how the elect is formed, So we can't never put ourselves part of that number because we don't know what the Lord has in store for us. We don't know what we did that last time. And that's where the fear of the Lord comes into play, and he will forgive us for whatever we've done. So this is Isaiah chapter 66, verse 15. For behold, the Lord Yahawah and Yahawashi will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. And that's going to be, the intercontinental ballistic missiles, but it's also going to be that heavy fire, that heavy laser beam chariot fire, after we are taken up from this place, Lord willing, because it said to enter into thy chambers. We're gonna get to that in just a minute. So now we're gonna go right here. This is mass killing of civilians by security forces in Burkina Faso. So it says the accounts are horrific. Women killed while carrying babies on their backs, and wounded, hunted down, the wounded hunted down villagers, watching the execution of their neighbors. See, this is what it's going to come down to. It's going to be happening like this over here. And that nobody's never seen nothing like that over here, fearing they'd be next. These are some of the atrocities allegedly perpetrated by Burkina Faso security forces in the north of the country, according to the statement Tuesday by the locals from the village of Karma, where the violence took place. It was early morning last Thursday when people in the village in Yakatinja province awoke to a large group of armed men in military fatigues driving motorcycles and armed pickup trucks. Some villagers, happy to see our soldiers, came out of their houses and to welcome them. Unfortunately, this joy was cut short when the first shots rang out, also causing the first casualty. See what I'm saying? They came out there and killed their own doggone people, man. These are some devils, man. At least 150 civilians may have been killed and many others injured in the violence, said in the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights, Ravina Shamdasani, said in the statement Tuesday. The UN is calling for a prompt, thorough, independent, impartial investigation into what is it called the horrific killing of civilians. Okay, that's what's gonna come here. They're gonna be sparing up. They're gonna be not sparing anybody. Okay, and that's why it says in Ezekiel 9 chapter 4, it said, "Don't go nowhere near the men who cry inside for the abominations that are done there. Put a mark on those men." And this is ultimately, why this needs to be taken serious. What we're doing, because this is what this is a big part of our salvation. It's not the only thing. There's many other things we have to do, but to also check up on the brotherhood, also check yourself, also to continually ask the Lord for repentance for anything that you went off on, but ultimately it's only going to be the Lord that can save you if you're ordained to be saved. So Lord willing, we part of that number, because that's some scary stuff right there, just waking up and then looking right next door and they just shooting somebody up. Then what? You gotta get moving, And it says those that shall escape. So 2nd Esdras chapter 16 verse 71. They shall be like madmen, sparing none, but still spoiling and destroying those that fear the Lord. And that's what's coming to the hopeful elect of Israel. That's what's coming to us. We're going to have to be prepared for this, spiritually and, a little bit physically, but the Lord is going to give us those means, you know, each person who's going through stuff like this, we're all going to have a way to escape, Lord willing, you know. Maybe it's spiritual powers, maybe he just make it to where they don't even see it. And you be like, how don't they see me? It could be anything. We don't know. How, but we can trust Yahawashi is gonna do something. So, that's what they're coming for. They're coming really for us, and that's why we're not really worried about anybody else who get put to death, because ultimately that's what's supposed to happen there. We're not worried about the other 17 nations. We're worried about warning our people. This is verse 17, verse 72. For they shall waste and take away their goods and cast them out of their houses, just like they did to these people over there. They just took them out their house and started shooting them up. They killed 150 people out there. That's terrifying. Then shall they be known who are my chosen, is verse 73, and they shall be tried as the gold in the fire, which is Jacob's trouble. This is just, this is part of the trial, but this is the training. And this is where we're supposed to be preparing ourselves. Just like it says in Matthew 25, there's the 5 foolish wives and the 5 wise wives. And the 5 wise wives are doing what we're doing. We're filling our lamp with oils. So when that time comes, the Lord goes, okay, I can turn that person gas on, and you ain't gonna be afraid. You're gonna be ready. You're gonna hit that switch. We're gonna get that closer connection with Yahawashi, Lord willing, and spiritual powers, and then we can protect the ones that we love and the ones that the Lord commands us to protect around us. So this is Isaiah 54 verse 16, and it reads, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth coals. Hold on. Yeah, no, this is the wrong one. Not yet. Salakia. We're supposed to do Isaiah. That's coming up. Isaiah chapter 26 verse 10. Salakia. Sticking back on topic. It says, let favor be shown to the wicked. Yet will he not learn righteousness? In the land of uprightness, he will deal unjustly and will not behold the majesty of the Lord Yahawashi. And that's how these murderers are. They don't care about Yahawashi or don't fear him. That's why they just walk right into their own civilians' house and just say, kill them. Like, that ruler over there has just got to be a wicked person. It said women had their babies on their backs and they were just shooting them to the ground. And it was all ordained by the Lord. It's scary to see that's righteous judgment. Okay, for whatever those people did last time they was here, or everything's righteous judgment to the Lord. What's happened, and it's a fearful thing to fall in the hands of the Lord. No one dies innocent. So and that's the difference between us and other people who watch these news articles and watch things. They look at it like, oh, those people didn't deserve that. Nah. He said, don't nobody perish innocent. So this is 2nd Ezra chapter 9, verse 10. For as such in their life have received benefits, have not known me. So you got to know Yahawashi. But he going to allow stuff like this to happen to you. And some of us go through suffering too, but he ain't going to give us nothing we can't handle. Verse 11, and they that have loathed my law while they yet had liberty, they had time to repent and convert and get into these videos, listen to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone on down, to their people camps that they've set up, and the men that they have called to be part of their ministry, and then also the followers like me. We all here to serve Yahawashi. We're not here to take liberty, and our grace period is a joke. When as yet place of repentance was open unto them, understood not and despised it, the same must know it after death by pain. And that's what them people experience, that death by pain, horrible death. So right here, we're gonna do precept from GMS in its likeness. It says, arise, shine, for thy light is come, and the glory of the Lord Yahawashi is risen upon thee. See, when we get called to do this stuff, and how he rises on us is this truth, we need to come to it hastily and get to work. For behold, this is verse 2, the darkness shall cover the earth, and gross darkness the people. But the Lord Yahawashi will rise upon thee, and his glory shall be seen upon thee. And that's what we want. We want the glory of Yahawashi to be risen on over us, you know, and be protected. So now we got right here also GMS in his likeness, Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 9, or verse 5. And this is one I always say at the beginning of all my lessons. You know, this is a very good scripture. So it says, the just Lord, Yahweh is in the midst thereof. He will not do iniquity. Every morning he doeth bringeth his judgment to life. He faileth not, but the unjust knoweth no shame. They don't. There's over there murdering, killing them women. They don't got no shame about it. Water off of those precepts. But yeah, they don't care. They don't care. So this is Job, and that's why we gotta have the Lord with us. They don't care about none of that. So Job chapter 36, we're gonna do Job chapter 36, verse 10. We're gonna go down to, we're gonna go up. So this, and it reads, he openeth also their ear to discipline and commandeth that they return from iniquity. See, that's what the Lord's got us doing. We're returning from iniquity, you know, and disciplining us to stay out of this world. This is verse 11, and it reads, if they obey and serve him, they shall spend their days in prosperity and their years in pleasures. And that's when we get into the kingdom. You know, that's where we want to be. But if they obey not, they shall perish by the sword, and they shall die without knowledge. And that's a fearful thing. We don't want to die without knowledge. We want to have knowledge, you know. And this is the knowledge that we need to be having and looking at and cherishing. And 2/3 of our people, even some of the people who don't look like 2/3, who are in the truth, you know, and know the truth, they're not taking it as serious. You know, we can never take this truth enough serious. You know, we can never do enough. You know, so it's good to stay occupied in prophecy on a daily. So I got a few more precepts, but I want to put in another clip, and then we're gonna look at that. So it says Taliban. I did a post on this one too. Taliban kills planner of Kabul airport bombing that left 13 U.S. troops dead. Okay, this is a, you know, this is a big deal. You know, this is really going to spark off some retaliation. You know, so you know, I don't want to play the video because I don't want it to be maybe something that's, you know, yeah, you know, I don't want to show nothing and then get my page, you know, blocked. Planner of the Kabul airport bombing left 13 U.S. troops and around 170 civilians dead. Okay, as the Biden administration finally withdrew American forces from the country that has been killed by the Taliban. The suspected mastermind of what's this? It said this just came out 1 day ago. Okay. Okay, I think this just recently happened, but this is, oh wait, okay, no, never mind. It said it took place in 2021. I'm not even sure why they put it out there then. Well, you know, that's just something else, you know, that happened, but obviously, you know, obviously that's another thing that the Lord judged. So I'm not sure why they put that out there a day ago. I just seen this a day ago. But this is something recent as well. I usually try to keep recent events. Scenes in Sudan, like horror film, The Purge, British citizen, and Karatanam says, and this is new right here. This is what's going on over in Sudan right now.
Of Sudan are usually filled with the hustle and bustle of an economic and trade hub. But recently, one of Africa's largest cities has become this, a war zone. And even more recently, a major extraction point.
Has been a long weekend, a long and intense weekend, trying to take our people out of Sudan. It has been a complex operation, and it has been a successful operation.
Apart from the over 1,000 European Union citizens rescued, so too have thousands of other foreign nationals.
The first group of Chinese citizens has been safely evacuated to Sudan's neighboring countries.
We moved by land, which was very difficult and dangerous. But thank God we were under the support of the Jordanian embassy, and it was successfully done.
See, they're always so thankful about, you know, these devils saving them from stuff they cause. They don't ever say, you know, that the reason why there's guns over there like that, you know, all these wicked militaries, man. But we're going to read just right here. It says more than 420 people, including at least 273 civilians, have been killed since the fighting on April 15th. So it's only been about a week over there. A lot of people are perishing. Okay. It's so scary that people are, you know, leaving out of there. It's getting bad over there. Okay. It's a lot of places on the other side of the earth. There's a lot of killing going on. And a lot of people of our people are blind to this. They don't understand the death that's coming to this place. You know, but people are starting to wake up a little bit more day by day. They're starting to see, oh, you know, the Lord is going to use Satan to destroy himself, which is basically Russia, which is the, you know, the Russian Edomites is going to destroy America, Babylon the Great, but everybody else is going to band with Russia. You know, according to Ezekiel 38, chapter verse 4 through 8, that's what it talks about. So we're going to put in Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 4. I'm going to just stick on topic. You know, but yeah, when it has that verse where it says, I will set Egyptian against Egyptian, we'll pull that up later and it'll kind of explain it a little bit. So this is Jeremiah chapter 16, verse 4. They shall die a grievous death. They shall not be lamented, neither shall they be buried. And that's what it's like over there, where they just killed all those civilians. They just probably laying in the street out there. They're not burying them people. But they shall be as dung upon the face of the earth, and they shall be consumed by the sword, which is that military power and weapons, and by famine, and their carcasses shall be meat for the fowls of heaven, for the beasts of the earth. Like, just to think that all those dead bodies just laying over there. It's going to be like that over here, but on a high magnitude, because a lot of people are not going to come and behold the righteousness of Yahawah and repent and convert. You know, we're going to have to be there going through it, you know, and praying the Lord gives us that spirit to endure that. So this is Proverbs chapter 15, verse 10. It said even the mighty men will be, you know, afraid and be, you know, in tears. Okay. So how much more for just us regular people that out here ain't really seen no death like that? You know, the only thing that's going to make us powerful enough to get through that is Yahawah. Proverbs chapter 15, verse 10, it reads, correction is grievous unto him that forsaketh the way. And see, when you don't receive correction, you get a grievous death. And he that hateth reproof shall die. And that's why ultimately when you receive reproof, is you really, Lord, giving mercy on you. You know, better to have one of his men come on you and get on you for something than he coming and taking you out. You know? And that's what's been happening. So now we're going to go here. One of my articles that I put up, you know, the Lord put the spirit on me to deal with, says Russia is moving closer to nuclear conflict with the U.S. due to Washington's support for Ukraine. So Russia is moving closer to a nuclear conflict with the U.S. due to Washington's support for Ukraine. Moscow has warned. Vladimir Yermakov, the foreign ministry head of nuclear non-proliferation, told TASS news agency that Washington is escalating the risks through its conduct with Kremlin, the latest series of threats from top Russian officials. So they're starting to put that warning out. Hey, it's finna be a bloody time. It's gonna be a lot of people getting hit. He said risk of a direct military confrontation between two nuclear powers is steadily growing. And that's Joel chapter 3, verse 10. Beat your plowshares and the swords. That's what he got them doing, growing that nuclear power. As he suggested to the Russian state news agency that Russia may withdraw from the intermediate and shorter range nuclear missiles treaty. And they already did that. They're not even paying attention to none of the sanctions, nothing. They just get ready to destroy this place. So since the start of Vladimir Putin's invasion in Ukraine 14 months ago, Moscow has issued regular charges against the U.S. and what it calls the collective West for raising the risk of a nuclear war, rhetoric intended to deter Kyiv's allies. So if the United States continue to follow its current course confrontation with Russia, and they will, they're going to send 200 million of these things, 200 million warheads, and it's going to be with the other nations. So if the United States continues to follow its current course of confrontation with Russia, with the stakes constantly escalating on the verge of sliding into direct armed conflict, then the fate of START, which is nuclear arms treaty, may be a foregone conclusion. And that's what's going to happen. These treaties, when have they ever kept treaties? Treaties have always been broken. That's what they basically made for, to be broken. Catch people off guard. That's why I said in Obadiah chapter 1, verse 7, all the men of thy confederate have deceived thee. So this is Isaiah chapter 54, verse 16. It says, behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy. And that's what he's doing. That's what he's doing with these nukes. They're meant to destroy. They're not meant to do anything else. And they're going to destroy this whole land. So 1 John chapter 3, verse 8, it reads, he that committeth sin is of the devil, which means deceiver, which is, Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, the Edomites, for the devil sinneth from the beginning. What's that? Genesis 3:15. And him being committed in that sin and deceiving Eve, he was able to, the Lord was able to, through that sin, the Lord, was able to separate him from the seed of Isaac, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So, through our sins and through the things that we went through is the only way we can receive salvation. And that's the balance. Lord can't love everybody. He got to hate somebody. And you got these Christians, the plantation Christianity say, well, he loved everybody. Well, that's a false abomination. That's a false balance. That's an abomination to the Lord. So that's not correct, and that's what people are starting to realize. Our people are starting to realize and are starting to wake up, and there's going to be way more that come in the future. So for this purpose, the son of Yahawah was manifested, which is Yahawashi, that he might destroy the works of the devil. And how is he going to destroy them? This is how he's going to destroy them. He's going to destroy them with their own hands. Revelations 17, verse 17, he's going to destroy them with their own sword. And they're going to make them destroy themselves. And this is Revelation 17:17. For Yahawah have put in their hearts to fulfill this will. What's that? What's his will? To destroy America, Babylon the Great, and take over all the nations. But first, he's going to use them to take out themselves, and to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast, which is United Nations, NATO, and the EU, until the words of Yahawah shall be fulfilled. And that's what's coming. Those words that this place is going to be destroyed. Now we're going to go to Luke 12:51. And it reads, suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth? I tell you, nay, but rather the division. And that's what he's doing. He's setting division. He's setting division of this place. He's dividing this place within itself and dividing itself from other divisions. And that's what's happening. And we're even being separated from 2/3 of our nation, of our people. The Lord is making all types of division. This is Isaiah chapter 19, verse 2. And it reads, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, which is basically America versus Russia, America, Babylon the Great, Edomites versus the Russian Edomites. And they shall fight everyone against his brother and everyone against his neighbor, and city against city and kingdom against kingdom. And that's what this is. That's what's playing out. All these words were written a long time ago for our learning, to see that this is what's coming. Isaiah chapter 13, verse 5, and it reads, they come from a far country. What's that? The ICBMs, the intercontinental ballistic missiles from the end of heaven. Even the Lord Yahawashi and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. He's going to destroy everything. He's not going to leave nothing. This is verse 6, and it reads, how ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. This is his will. Verse 7, therefore, all hands shall be faint, and every man's heart shall melt with what? The heat from the nukes. And they shall be afraid, pangs and sorrows shall take hold of them. They shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed at one another, and their face shall be as flames. Because they're going to really be on fire. Verse 9, behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. With the missiles. Verse 10, for the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light, because the mushroom clouds. The sun shall be darkened and going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. And that's why we repent and convert every day. You know, our people, that's why they repent and convert. When the Lord puts the spirit on them to come wake up. Because we can't put the spirit on nobody to wake up. Only the Lord can bring you to these videos and have you take it serious and wake up. So that's why we thank Yahawashi that he gave us that spirit. So this is what's got to come first, though. This is going to come first, and then that nuclear destruction is coming after it. Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7, and it reads, Allah's for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. And that's them issuing that Karagma, that MOTB, that chip that you put in your hand, your right hand, and your forehead, your right hand, you know, it says the forehead as well. And, you know, you scan to get into your door and everything else. And that's what they got coming. And then these are going to come right after that. So now we're going to go over here and talk about the coral disease outbreak. Okay, the coral reefs in there is dying in the ocean, and people don't understand how serious that is. Okay, that's going to cause a lot of situations. Okay, Bonniere's reefs are currently experiencing an outbreak of what we suspect is stony coral tissue loss disease. It's a highly contagious disease that affects corals, leading to the loss of tissue and eventually killing the coral colonies. It's first identified in Florida 2014. Since then, it has spread to 22 countries in the Caribbean. Southern Caribbean was one of the last places where the SCTLD was undetected until recently. Since recent outbreaks in the Dutch Caribbean islands and now lastly, Bonnier, it seems the disease now spread throughout the entire region. The cause of the disease is still under investigation, but it's suspected to be caused by a bacterial pathogen because they dumping all these chemicals in the water. Okay, they're destroying the land. So we're going to go to Jeremiah chapter 13, verse 2. And it reads, so I got Jeremiah chapter 3, verse 2. Slakia. And it reads, lift up thine eye to the high places and see where thou hast not been lying with. In the ways hast thou sat for them as the Arabian in the wilderness, and thou hast polluted the land with thy whoredoms and with thy wickedness. And that's what they've done. They've polluted this land, because we disobeyed Yahawashi. We were going off. But now, the main cause is because of them, because we don't have no power over nothing. Psalms 106, verse 38, and it reads, let's read 5. It says, yea, they sacrificed their sons and their daughters unto devils. And that's what they really did do. They did that in Hollywood for their fames and riches. And they also did it not just in Hollywood, it's in all aspects of this place. they're all involved in that kind of sacrifice. You know, they worship those Canaanite gods. Okay, Psalms 106 verse 38, it reads, and for people who don't know, the Canaanites are the so-called Africans. And okay, so this is verse 38, and shed innocent blood, even the blood of their sons and of their daughters, whom they sacrificed unto idols of Canaan, and the land was polluted with blood. See, this whole place is polluted, to the water, to the land. It's got our people's blood all throughout it. You know, there's going to be a heavy price for that, which is the destruction of the whole land. People don't consider that. This is Isaiah chapter 24 verse 5. It reads, the earth also is defiled unto the inhabitants thereof, because they have transgressed the laws, changed the ordinance, broken the everlasting covenant. That's what they've done here. They've broken everything that Yahawashi said not to do. But that's what they're supposed to do. They're the wicked. But it's going to cost them. Leviticus chapter 20 or 18 verse 27. For all these abominations have the men of the land done, which were before you, and the land is defiled. This place is not no good. So this is Jeremiah chapter 2 verse 7. And it reads, and I brought you into a plentiful country to eat the fruit thereof and the goodness thereof. But when ye entered, ye defiled my land and made mine heritage an abomination. And that's what's going to happen. This place has become an abomination and it needs to be destroyed. So now, this is something that the Lord, you know, I haven't really got to come across with that much. So the Lord is kind of increasing, you know, the blessing of allowing me to bring this forth to the flock. It talks about U.S. prepares for possible space war against China and Russia. So see, they're getting ready for a space war, and they say it's against China and Russia, but we know ultimately it's not against China and Russia. It's going to be against Yahawashi and his people. You know, it is the military. You know, we hope to be part of that number. You know, the Lord's military is going to be out there destroying everybody. But they want to make it seem like they getting it ready and have a space war against each other. It ain't gonna have nothing to do with them, and they know. So we're gonna pull up a couple precepts about this. I really do want to read through the article, because you know everything they talking about as it's contrary to what the scriptures say. So Revelation chapter 12 verse 7, and this is what's gonna happen up there. And it reads, and there was a war in heaven. See, that's the heaven up there. That's, you know, over there in their space stations. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels. You remember the dragon goes back to Draconian, and it goes back to the serpent in Genesis 3:15, to what we all know. That's Esau Edom, the so-called white man. Okay, the revived Roman Empire. That's who Michael and his angels are going to be fighting against. You know, Michael the archangel. You know, he's going to go up there and take them down. This is Revelation chapter 12 verse 8, and it reads, and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven. And they're not going to win. They're going to lose. And during that, they're going to be up there hiding too. They have some of the elite up there trying to hide. And they're going to get took out too. Some of them going to get brung into slavery. So this is Amos chapter 9 verse 2, and it reads, though they dig into hell, then shall my hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, see, they're going to be up there trying to, you know, escape. Thence I will bring them down. Verse 3, and though they hide themselves in the top of Carmel, I will search which is in the mountains. I will search and take them out thence. And though they be hid from my sight at the bottom of the sea, thence I will command the serpent, and he shall bite them. Talking about the Leviathan. Though they go into captivity before their enemies, thence will I command the sword, and it shall slay them. And I will set mine eyes upon them for evil and not for good. And that's what's going to happen to these people. So now we got some things that the Lord put spirit on me to deal with China. There's a lot of things that China's been doing. We're going to go through, you know, a couple things dealing with China. So China to dethrone U.S. dollar, U.S. reports say, and that's not U.S. reports, new reports say. So, you know, it has been revealed China is on the quest to dethrone the U.S. dollar. China wants to dethrone the U.S. dollar. It has been revealed that President Joe Biden's top pick lead economic policy says there is evidence that China is trying to remove the U.S. dollar from its world reserves currency status, and they are doing it. In the confirmation hearing, Jared Bernstein, nominee the chair of the Council of Economic Advisors, stated the fact that the U.S. would definitely not be better off if USD is dethroned. Of course not, because that's all we use. Bernstein, who was chief economist advisor of Biden, he was vice president, says that there are obvious reasons why the U.S. should protect the dollar status as the world's reserve currency, but they don't want that. They want it to come to an end so they can issue in their digital currency and try to enslave all of us. So that's just a little bit of that. But now, so also, it says China boosts non-U.S. dollar trades and a middle finger move to Western sanctions. So they don't care about the sanctions, okay? First, they were acting like, oh, we don't want no, we ain't doing nothing, okay? But no, they're saying, nah, fuck y'all, we're out. So several countries are increasingly moving away from the U.S. dollar in global trade. You know, Zimbabwe, other places. U.S. dollar shares global foreign exchange reserves has dropped. China has become the largest global trade partner in most countries. They're starting to take over, and it's going to take some time. But after everybody switches over and deceives this place, it's going to be bad over here. It's going to lead to, you know, retaliation on this side. It's going to be people fighting against each other, civil war, all that, you know. So also, this is something else they're doing. It says Chinese to pay all salaries using digital yuan. So they're not using none of our stuff no more. They're using all their stuff. They're literally separating, okay? And that's starting next month. Massive breakthrough for the People's Bank of China. Right here as well. Chinese city public service may receive digital yuan, that's how you say that, salary starting May. So that's in like 3 days, 4 days. They're starting to use their stuff completely. They're cutting off from this place, you know, and that's what people need to understand. This is going to be major, dude. We've never had them say we're not using none of your money no more. This is a major country. That's a lot of people over there that used to use the dollar. And for them to transfer like that, this place is going to suffer dramatically. Okay, so I want to pull up a couple things. I want to pull up Jeremiah chapter 40, verse 8, because the reason why they're doing this, because they're basically just like America, Babylon the Great. They want to be just like this place. Okay, that's why ultimately they're going to get destroyed too. So this is Jeremiah chapter 48. We want to read a little bit of this. It says, against Moab, which is so-called Chinese, thus saith the Lord of hosts, Yahawashi, the power of Israel, which is Yahawah. Woe unto Nebu, for it is spoiled. Carithium is founded and taken. Misgab is confounded and dismayed. These are some of their cities. For there shall be no more praise of Moab. In Heshbon, they have devised evil against it. Come and let us cut it off from being a nation. Also shall be cut down, O madmen. The sword shall pursue thee. The voice of the crying shall be in Haranium, spoiling and great destruction. See, this place is going to get destroyed, just like America, Babylon the Great. And they act just like this place. They want to digitally enslave their people. They already got 15-minute cities, all that. So Moab, so-called Chinese, had destroyed her little ones, have caused a cry to be heard. For in the going of the Hith, continual weeping shall go up. For in ongoing down of Haranium, the enemies have heard a cry of destruction. Please save your lives and be like the heath, heath in the wilderness. For because thou hast trusted in thy works and in thy treasures, just like America, Babylon the Great did, thou shalt also be taken. And Shamash, shall go forth into captivity with his priests and his princes together. So that's just a little bit, you can get the point that they're finna get took out too. So they think that them doing all this is gonna ultimately save them, just like America Babylon the Great thinks that what they're doing is gonna save them, and they're both gonna perish. So this is Amos chapter 2, verse 4. And when you actually go look up that name Amos, the prophet Amos, his name means burden. He had to carry this burden knowing that this wasn't going to happen for a while. And he was probably going to have to come back, which he is back here probably today. Maybe he passed on before, but he came back again, you know, and had to hold, you know, this truth again, you know, in his heart, which is his mind, you know. It's a burden, you know, to serve Bahasham and Yahawashi, you know. So that's why they tell you we need leaders. They have a lot of burdens on them. It's a privilege to serve Bahasham and Yahawashi, but it says with much wisdom comes much grief. Okay, we carry a lot of sorrows with us. This book is full of lamentation, mournings, and woes. It's Amos chapter 2, verse 4, and it reads, "Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Yahawashi, for 3 transgressions of Judah." Oh wait, that's wrong. That's talking about 2/3. But I want to get the one from Moab. There's one from Moab. Give me 1 second, bear with me. Yep, it's verse 1. Slaki. So it says, "And thus saith the Lord, Yahawah Yahawashi, for 3 transgressions of Moab, and the 4 I will not turn the punishment away the punishment thereof, because he burned the bones of the king of Edom into lime. I will send a fire upon Moab, and it shall devour the palaces of Kerioth, and Moab shall die with tumult, with shouting, and with the sound of the trumpet." See, so they're gonna go down. They ain't making it. They're getting took out too. So they think everything is good and they finna be the next ruling power. They're gonna get destroyed too. So right here, this is kind of, you know, something that, you know, could indefinitely turn into a serious deal. This is Sudan militants spark huge risk in lab with samples of deadly viruses. Okay, they took over a lab and they got a bunch of deadly viruses. Okay, watch a little bit of this. Hold up, that's not nothing to do with it. Let's read this. Sudan facing huge biological risk after fighters took control of a public laboratory holding samples of deadly pathogens, including those that cause polio and chlorea and measles. A local World Health Organization chief was warned during a call. Reporters took video on Tuesday. Dr. Nima Saeed Abid, the international organization's representative in the West African nation since August 2020, said that the technicians were currently unable to access the lab to secure infectious materials, describing it as an extremely dangerous situation, according to the agency France Presse. So they could like literally use that as chemical warfare. The remarks come in a fragile 72-hour ceasefire after fighting broke out between the Sudanese military and forces controlled by military junta since violent exchanges began April 15th. Talk about at least 427 people have been killed and 3,700 injured, according to the recent figures of the World Health Organization. So that's a pretty big deal for them to catch them deadly diseases. They could use them for chemical warfare, anything, man. It'd be a widespread, you know. That's real serious. So this is Micah. This is what these wicked people do, you know, starting with Esau Edom. You know, he's the one who was taught all these nations to be wicked like this. This is Micah chapter 2, verse 1, and it reads, "Woe unto them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it because it is in the power of their hand." So they're going to use this stuff. It's in the power of their hand right now. They're going to use it more than likely for something, you know. And this is why they do it like that. You know, they do it just like Esau Edom did. They covet fields, they take them by violence. This is verse 2, in houses, and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man and his heritage. That's what's happening. You know, they're just going in and taking everything. Verse 3, therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahawashi, behold, against this family, it's talking about Esau, Edom, the so-called white nations, and the other 16 other nations, do I devise an evil, from which ye shall not remove your necks, neither shall ye go haughtily, for this time is evil, and they're going to get destroyed. So I got one more article that I got put in a precept, and I'm going to close out. White House warns 21 million Americans at risk of losing Medicaid under GOP proposal. So it's going to be 21 million Americans if they're going to lose their Medicaid if they raise the debt limit. So let's read this a little bit. The projections are both warning about the potential consequences of the strict reporting requirements. Republicans are contemplating an ammunition for Democrats in the upcoming negotiations over raising the federal debt limit. The House work requirement proposal dubbed a community engagement requirement in Bill's text. And the reason why they're starting to take this stuff because they ain't going to be able to afford it. Would mandate that many Medicaid recipients look for work or participate in another kind of community service for at least 20 hours per week. Through some conservatives that want or that number to be even higher. So, you know, that's just a little bit about that, talking about how a lot of people are about to start losing their medical help. You know, people starting to lose, you know, their aid. And, you know, you got a lot of people out here who use that medicine. We know their physicians are no value. That's just basically just sedating. But them people gonna start bugging out. They better get out there and go get their ass to work. So you ain't making us no money. You costing us money. We already lost trying to working with us. So this is my last precept that I got out. It's 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1. This now also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents. And that's talking about mainly our spiritual parents, but you know, there's people that's also disobedient to their physical parents, unthankful, unholy. Verse 3, without natural affection, truth breakers, false accusers, incontent, fierce, despisers of those that are good. And these people hate good. They hate the truth. Traitors, heady, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of Yahawah. And that's what's coming. Having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof, from such turn away. And that's 2/3 of our people. They have turned away from the ways of Yahawashi. They don't want to repent and convert. But that's why we got to keep ourselves unspotted from these people and not to be around these people. So that's all I got for today. Lord willing, is edifying to the flock. Shalom to elective Israel, to the whole elected Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American, West Indian, Hastings, and the foreign Israelites that are scattered across the four corners of the earth. Got to give all praise to Barak, Yahawah, Barak, Yahawashi, Barak, Yahawah, Barak, Yahawashi. Got to give all praises to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rawchaa, Qadash. I want to give double honors to the elders and apostles, the great millstone, led me to this truth, and have been ordained by the Lord to teach the flock how to live, repent, pray, fast, and show forth the Lord's righteousness and mercy, judgment, forgiveness, and wrath to all those who are part of the elect, whoever they may be, across the four corners of the earth, to the hopeful elect. Lord willing, we be part of that number. Lord willing, is be edifying to those who fear in the name of the Lord and are striving to show forth the Lord's righteousness every day to the best of their abilities. His judgment always comes to light. Zephaniah chapter 3, verse 5, and it's not slack. 2 Peter chapter 3, verse 9. So Lord willing, we'll be able to exalt the name of Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi another day, and to be able to dwell in this wickedness without being spotted by these wicked people on the earth. So Shalom, Wa Ba Ba Ba.